The United National Party has denied any involvement in the protests carried out by some social activist groups opposite several media institutes in Colombo on Thursday.
The Island newspaper reported today that in a special statement on Friday, the UNP said that the party is committed to promote and protect the freedom of media. The statement also says that media institutions are branding the participants of the peaceful and civilized protests as NGO members and conspirators, while lauding those who stage protests violating laws and promoting violence as patriots. The statement says that the UNP strongly condemns the conduct of the other black media, which showed their autocracy by refusing to accept the letters presented by the protesters. It further says that it should be recalled on how the UNP appeared for the freedom of media and protection of journalists when media institutions faced violence and were bombed and journalists were threatened and killed. While the United National Party claims to be appearing for media freedom, this is how its leadership spoke in Parliament on the 21st of last month.
I think MP Vijithamuni Soisa is very fortunate. Do you think he will be able to collect 100 million by suing all media institutions? What if 10 million is received from each media institution? There are 3 or 4 of them. This is what you call black media. I believe we have proposed today that a debate be held in January regarding the black media, and we must name all of them from top to bottom.
Though the UNP, by issuing statements, denies involvement in the demonstrations that took place opposite media institutions on Thursday, it is clear that the truth begs to differ. This group, who arrived at the doorsteps of media institutions to advise them on how the media should act, took to the streets when Ranil Wickremesinghe was ousted from his position, demanding that democracy be re-established. On the 28th of November last year, a group identifying themselves as the Women of Sri Lanka protested opposite the presidential secretariat during heavy showers. Another group, identifying themselves as the Shining Hearts, also protested opposite the presidential secretariat wearing face masks. Several people who were seen in the group that demonstrated near media institutions were seen at the Satyagraha campaign that was launched at the Vihara Mahadevi Park after Ranil Wickremesinghe was removed from his position. As soon as Ranil Wickremesinghe was reappointed as the Prime Minister, the Satyagraha was called off. The NGO Dollar Gang arrived at media institutions in a backdrop where various people have resorted to threaten the media using the term black media. Where was the NGO Dollar Gang when the bond scam happened, when money worth billions was robbed from the people? Were they in hiding when the perpetrators left the country? Where was the NGO Dollar Gang when commercial loans with extremely high interest rates were obtained to construct expressways at a time when the country was in the middle of economic turbulence? Where was the NGO Dollar Gang when due process were not followed when granting contracts to companies such as Taisei? Where were they when the national carrier was suffering losses over losses due to the incompetence of its management and the authorities? The country is not amazed by the humiliating actions of the Prime Minister. This looks like a situation where the people who are eating off the money of the bond scam are vomiting what they have eaten. And since they do not have a place to vomit, they have chosen to do so at the doorstep of media institutions so that the whole world can see that they are in fact people who have eaten off the money of the bond scam. Why do I say this? I say this because it was the media institutions that reported on the bond scam. We have to tell the Prime Minister and the group that betrays the country. You cannot attack the media. We are there to protect these media institutions. It should be reiterated that these allegations are not raised against the entirety of the United National Party. A majority of the United National Party, along with its deputy leadership, has condemned the actions of the NGO Dollar Gang on several occasions. Meanwhile, the Island newspaper Saturday edition in an article says that the United National Party has recommenced its attacks on the media, and that since the restoration of the UNP government some weeks ago, these attacks have assumed a more sinister aspect. The article also reminds that in April 2018, in the wake of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe defeating the no-confidence motion brought against him, there was a raucous demonstration outside the Sirasa TV premises by jubilant UNP activists. But the silent, masked, black-clad demonstrators last Thursday portend something much more sinister than the louder and more visceral demonstration against Sirasa last April. It adds that deliberate, planned actions should cause much more concern. The people demonstrating outside media organizations are mostly employees of NGOs funded by the very foreign countries that openly backed the move to block the holding of a general election that is a reason for the entire nation to stand up and take notice. The article says the whole country saw the manner in which diplomats of Western embassies in Colombo went to Parliament to express support for the move not to have a general election, and even sat in the courtrooms to observe the proceedings. It questions now, when the people paid by countries represented by those very Western diplomats demonstrate in front of local media organizations, what are we to understand from that? President Maithripala Sirisena on several occasions said that media freedom in the country has been ensured. Speaking before the United Nations 73rd General Assembly last year, President Sirisena reiterated the above and said that media freedom has been ensured in the country in the past 3 years. In a backdrop where the president says this, shouldn't legal action be taken against the NGO dollar gang that obstructs media freedom in the country? Should these people who operate with foreign funds and money that was taken out from the bond scam be allowed to act in a manner that they please? For your attention.